Fox or domain, something like that. Story time. So this is the what Foxburg. So 1990 Mustang LX, aka foxbody. I've owned the car for about 2 years, going on 3 years since 2019. So it's going on 3 years. This that you see has only been a year progress. The car was bone stock when I bought it. I was a third owner. Bought it from my uncle, and how I stumbled across buying this from my uncle is I was gonna build a VIP car. I was gonna go to Carolina, one of them I forgot, to buy a 1964 Mercedes 280 Cabriolet. It was gonna be the same white on white, white interior, white wheels, well, white top, white car, convertible, stick shift car. I plan on doing a swap to a newer motor and so forth. But my uncle said, before you take that drive all the way down here, come to my house and have a car show. So my uncle has about 15 cars, and he had this sitting that he bought from the original owner. That was just sitting in his garage collecting dust. It was so in the car cover. The car is very clean for what it was at the time, and stock, all bone stock, no mods, no nothing. Then I went to a show in Baysox, Maryland. I got accepted into the show. Didn't know. Didn't expect to because it was a stock car, and I brought the car there. The car got mad love and so forth, but I was the only stock car there amongst everybody else. So quick backstory, before this car, I in the car club, in the car game and so forth, go to car shows and compete. You know what I mean? Me and this chilling vibe. My car club name is Island Vibes Auto. And you know what I mean, we just go to the car shows, chill, have a good time, look at other builds and so forth. Went to Universal Technical Institute, graduated and so forth. And automotive, very highly automotively I'm tech savvy. I can build cars, I can tear them apart and so forth on my level and on my time. Went to UTI for Toyota, but ended up with Ford. Don't ask me, I told you I got a crazy deal. So anyways, back to the initial story of how the wet Foxburg started. Got the car, went to Baysox. I was on the car there that was stock. In the DMV, there's not much Fox bodies that are modified, except for like a few that I know of, Drift One and so forth. And there is no show Fox body. So I said, all right, cool, I'm gonna build me a show car. It's a Fox body that could be able to do everything. I could go to the track, good times in a quarter mile. I go to the drift event, slide if I want to. I can cruise across country because I cruise across country from Stock 02 to Florida from Washington, D.C. and it took 12 hours and I only spent $100 in gas one way going down there. So the car does very good. Nice highway cruising and so forth. So I want to retain that, but also be a show car look and so forth. I can do everything. I want to build an everything car. So back to the car, how it snowballed from that show at Baysox. I said I set off to build the world's baddest convertible Fox body. So the reason why I say that the world's baddest, there's not a lot of convertibles that can be built because you know what I mean, they're weaker, they don't have any structure integrity and so forth and blah blah blah. But in my opinion, they look the best because you can drop the top, get the same motor. There's no difference in the 302 motors, and they all stick or automatic. And this is an original 5-liter V8 car. So I say, you know what? I'm gonna go all in and build a dope car. So the first mod I did was pull the stock 302. Got tired of it. So slow, it was so primitive, and it was expensive in my opinion to modify to get to power. without upgrading to a different motor. So I just say, let me ditch this and start the process. So the first modification that I did, that I should have done for real, was the motor. But the first modification I did was shape the engine bay. So when I wanted to shape the engine bay, I bought the Scott rod panels and so forth, and brought it to a shop in Maryland. Not gonna name the shop because they did a horrible job. I don't really care to bash them, but brought it to the shop. He was supposed to fix the strut tower. It was rusting, and he's supposed to just weld in the Scott rod panel. And my initial plan was to also shave the whole engine bay and shave the firewall and so forth, make everything flat like how it is, and leave the holes for the air conditioning system and the heating. But the shop messed it up, so I got in contact with this guy named Andy at Pop's Garage, which is his business. He's a custom fabricator and so forth. And I went to Andy with the idea. He got the car, and he started on the car. He did a half a tube, well, 3/4 of a tube frame, front end. And some of it is under here, but the bumper is, the hood is blocking it. And he did tube down here, tube front end, and kept all the dimensions of the car there. The whole firewall, as you can see, is flush, clean, not a single hole. Nowhere in this engine bay has a hole. See, I still retain all the dimensions that it was normally. All the body lines line up, so forth, crispy. And yeah, so once he started that, I said, okay, my front bumper has a little sag in it, you know what I mean? I love the original stock bumper, but it has sag in it, and I didn't want to buy a stock replacement one right away. So I said, okay, let me see if I can make something out of the bumper. So I wanted fog lights. I didn't like the fog lights that come with the foxbody, that's a circle fog light. So I said, you know what? I look around, and I said, JDM Honda Accord, they got square fog lights, well, rectangular. They can match my headlights. So I said, cool, let me buy the bumper. I bought a JDM UC1, I think, bumper. I cut off the top part, cut off the bottom half of the Mustang bumper, merged them together with fiberglass, and that's how I came across this. I messed up on the moldings, and I had to mold the moldings, haha, together in the bumper, so it's all one piece, but technically that molding can come off. And this is how I came across this. So what the car that you see now is still in prototype stage for version 3.0. This is version 2.0 that I got so far. So from the engine bay of the bumpers, I went and I got wheels for the car. These are 18 by 11 up front, 0 offset. So that's why they sit so flush right here. The car was on air suspension, airlift 3P, but I took it off because the bags had faulty and it was user error. I basically installed them bad, so they didn't work so well. So, and the rears are 18 by 12.75 -10 with a 6-inch lip. I have new wheels that are inside the car right here, as you can see, that I'm gonna put on the car, but I have to wait on some other supporting mods to do those because they're way wider. They're 20 by 14s versus 18 by 12.75. The car has a S550 interior. Can't show that because of wheels and other mods that I'm trying to keep away for the future so I can have more content are inside the car. So yeah, so quick story about the motor is 08 GT500, quote unquote semi-built. I don't really know much about these motors, but the car made in the initial donor 615 rear wheel horsepower, 600 torque, or 620 and 600 torque, something like that. And when I saw those numbers, I was like, oh, that's a healthy motor. I went over there 2 times. I went down there initially to see the motor before they pulled it out of the car because the car got into a mishap and got totaled. and it's a buddy shop of mine. So when I went down there, the car ran, started, everything, no tick, no tax, no nothing, revved it up. The car kinda drove, but it didn't drive, if you know what I mean. And after they took it off the dyno, I said, okay, I'm sold. I'll come back down in a week or two and we can make it happen. So I went back down there, they took it apart, put it on the pallet, put everything together for me, and got it back here. Next time I'll share the story about that and show the clips about me getting stranded on the way to get this motor. But as I say, it's a 1990 LX Vert, staggered wheel setups. Building this car to do any and everything. If I go drag strip if I want to, run low 10s, 9s, maybe 8s, because I'm twin charging the car. I have a set of twin turbos that are off of the shop right now, getting plated. They're done, but they're not done because I want them to be a certain way, so the shop has to redo them. And yeah, the car just snowballed into this crazy idea. What you're looking at is just what I'm thinking about now. This is nowhere near the final product for next year, version 3.0. This is version 2.0, other than the stock one when it just had the wheels and so forth. I plan on driving this car everywhere and anywhere that I want to, so I have to make sure this motor is stout and everything. So I probably end up pulling it apart, checking everything, make sure all the clearances is nice. I got to modify this K-member because I don't like its placement. I have a boatload of space up here in the motor, but it's tight as snail. You know, I'm gonna keep it PG. It's tight back here, so I have to cut this K-member and move it forward some because I do not like how it fits in here. Like if I have to work on something back here or anything, I can't fit back there. So I got to move the motor forward. That's gonna put more weight over the front wheels, but you know what I mean. As I said, I'll figure it out. It's nothing but to just add some way to take some weight somewhere else. But the goal is to build an everything all around car. I could go cruise cross country. I could go down a drag strip at 9-8 seconds or lower. I could go to a drift event and participate. I could go to car shows and air out and look good and everything. You just want to build everything comfortable car. A lot of people say you can't really do that with a high horsepower motor, but it's very doable, and I've seen other people done it. You know what I mean? I'm not basing this off of other people, I'm gonna base it off of my experience in building this. So I just wanted to make a video of the rundown of the car and so forth. In 2021, I attended 3 shows with this car. I attended a show called the Chocolate Fox Show in Hershey, PA, and when the car didn't have a motor, just the bay and what you see. And surprisingly, I came off with some hardware. I got a trophy for Judge's Choice Award for Best Working Product, Judge's Choice Award for Best Car. And other show that I attended was Foxtoberfest, and the goal was for them to get 500 cars, but they ended up knocking that out of the park at 719 cars or 718 cars, and I made it there to debut the new setup with the motor and so forth. New setup, but yeah, to put the motor in the car because I made progress. The car is all wired up and everything. The car could almost drive. I mean, technically, if I put a clutch in there and a pedal, the car could drive because it'll start up like this. But I don't want to like push the car past its limits right now. I want to do everything right so I don't have to go back and do it. Good vibes, good lifestyle for this dope banner. Like, oh, shout out to Omni Tints for the dope tint. Like, I can't wait to mob outside with these on the car. But yeah, that's pretty much it about the Wet Fox work for now. Future mods or what's the plan for this car. Working on building a one-off-one rear end for this car right now. That is gonna be so dope. It'll be also one-off-one. The car will be twin charge, which I'll be the first GT500 twin charge swap fox body. There's a lot of things on this car. I just can't think about it all now. Whole front end, the whole car will have a makeover. It's gonna be wide body because I want to fit some thick tires back there to fill up the rest of that. Those honestly could fit. If I had an IRS and like 5 degrees of camber, I could tuck those, but you know what I mean. Working on that slowly but surely. Shout out to that Gatorade, because it keeps me good. But yeah, so this is it for the car for tonight. This episode. I'll keep y'all updated. This is just an introduction of what this car built. Alright, thank y'all. Peace.